All right, the vlog has moved on. We are in Gulfport, Mississippi. Where are we at? Gulfport, Mississippi? Gulfport, Mississippi. It is Wednesday, February 20th. We have snacks, and we are headed to Biloxi to see what kind of shenanigans we can get in down there. Made it to Beau, short for Beau Rivage. Got good news and bad news. Good news is we're gonna play some cards. Bad news is those tasty treats I showed you a second ago, all over my pants. Should have just ate the banana, but that was Dan's banana. He doesn't eat ice cream because he's trying to stay fit, healthy. Seems kind of creepy, no? So, just bought in here to the Beau Rivage. It's uncapped. They only have 1-3 games and a 4-8 limit game going. So, jumped in the 1-3. Here's where we're at so far. First orbit. I've been just slapped in the face with the deck, and I'm not complaining. So things are looking good. One of the comments I get a lot is, "Hey Adam, what happens when you don't run like God? What does your session look like?" Well, pay attention because this is what it looks like. Off screen, 2 guys limp in for the $3 here, and the guy to my right makes it $30 to go. I look down at Ace King, which is a pretty solid hand, and I should come in for a raise, but I don't know anything about this guy, and I thought there's a good chance we might be able to play this pot heads up. Not sure why I thought that, as no pot had ever been played heads up in this casino. The small blind calls, the big blind calls, and the 2 guys who had limped in for 3, they make the call, and we're forced to go into the flop 6-handed, which is not ideal. Had I just raised like I should have, everybody else probably folds, and we play a pot heads up. The flop is not terrible, but also not good, and actually pretty terrible, because it's Jack 8-4 with 2 clubs. Doesn't make much of a difference, though, because everybody checks. The turn card comes the 5 of clubs, the small blind checks, the big blind throws out $50 right there. The other 2 players fold, it gets over to me, and this is where I should spring my trap and raise, but I elect instead to call to make sure that I lose the most amount of money possible. Boom, there that is. Small blind ducks out of the way, and now my only hope is to hit a flush, and in hindsight, probably wasn't going to get paid very much even if I did hit it. The big blind now fires out a bet that is way too much for me to possibly call with ace high. By the way, the river was the deuce of diamonds. He fires out 175, and I have to hit the fold button. So this hand Just happened to thought it was pretty interesting. There's a $6 straddle on the button, and the first two players, which are in this case the blinds, call the $6. And then a gentleman who has an obscene amount of money in front of him. He has like $6,000 in front of him. And he elects to limp as well. I raised to $31 with two black 10s. Folds around to the gentleman with the $6,000 stack. He makes the call. The flop comes 6-4 deuce with two spades. He checks. I continue for $35, and he makes it $135 to go. He's really telling us a story here on 6-4 deuce that he's flopped a straight or a set. But I feel that a lot of the time he's not going to want to announce his hand. And usually I find that players, with exceptions obviously, but players will slow play in this situation. So I make the call. I have the option for backdoor spades, which is not nothing. The turn card comes the queen of clubs, and he fires out 230 and puts in a $500 chip to do it. So now this is going to be a crucial spot in the hand, because now I have to decide, if I call this 230, what's the river bet look like? A set that chose to play the flop the way he did would obviously continue on the turn heavily, especially since I showed resistance and called $130 on the flop. He limped for 6 and then just called 31 pre-flop. So the chances that he has a huge hand here as far as aces, kings, queens, jacks is so minuscule. So I'm really narrowing his range down to sets, which I'm not sure he would announce. And then the major draw. So I think he flopped a huge draw. And his instincts are telling him that he needs to raise the flop, which is not necessarily wrong. And by me calling on the flop, that's going to be super annoying to him, especially if his goal was to play for stacks with his huge draw. He could have ace-3 of spades, or a pair and a flush draw. I think a straight draw, flush draw combination is the most likely. With that in mind, I call the 230. The river card comes a jack of diamonds. And then we get music to my ears. He checks. This is good. I mean, we don't want to put any more money in this pot now. So I check behind, and he gives us even more good news. He says, "You win." So I win that pot. So that hand's awesome. And Grace and Rain Delay have moved to the table. So there's nobody's money I'd rather take than Grace or Rain Delay, especially on the vlog. Thanks, guys.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
this place. Gotta rock this place. Gotta rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this
Okay, now.
Are you ready?
Let's join on the corner where the big boys play.
Don't be scared.
It's way more than
How dare you take advantage
I
of
said
my
I was
blind
gonna
race?
make it 18.
How dare you? Now I gotta fucking look and shit. So annoying. Oh my god. I gotta play this hand. So stupid. Out of position too. It's the worst. Thanks a lot, Grace.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Check. I keep going. One more. Is that enough?
Heads up.
Check.
Let's do. How about 160?
Oh, come on, show for the vlog. I'll show this guy. That's it.
Flip it over, flip it over, flip it over. Flip it over. Show one, show all.
And once again we are in jeopardy. Our crimes are aging just like you and me. For love is more than a dream, and I believe in walls of mystery that block the sun from everyone. When I wake up, you'll be gone, and all that will be left is in my hands to write a memory of love that's dead, echoes from a distance and fade away. Wish I could change all that has been done. A time where you were the one. This is today when I can't see a thing, but what it is for the time being, and how it feels in my hands. And when it walks away, I feel free, freer than a bird above the open sea, but words keep taking.
If you follow the vlog at all, you'll know I don't always have premium hands. I raise the button and in position with all sorts of hands, and part of that strategy is that when I do pick up a big pair, such as these wired kings, I'm able to win bigger pots than other players because no one ever believes me. So this is a straddled pot, and the big blind and then this middle position player to my right have called. I raise it up to $36. Want to start building a pot with the second best hand and hold them. This guy folds out a turn, but the big blind does come along. We're going to go heads up to a flop, and his range is infinite here. He can have suited connectors, big and small aces, and pocket pairs. So really can't narrow what he has down quite yet. The flop comes down ace, ace, jack with 2 diamonds. And because there are 2 aces on the board, it makes it less likely that my opponent has an ace. So after he checks, I'm going to fire out small here. I fire out $36. Going to charge him something if he has, if he's drawn at me with a flush draw, and if he has 2 picture cards for a straight draw, or if he has a smaller pair, because it's not unlikely that 2 10s are just going to check fold to this flop because I could have a lot of things. So he does come along, and we're off to a turn card, and the turn card comes a 3. He checks it again, and I'm actually going to bet here because I'm going for value, because there are more things that I can get value from than there are hands that he has that have me beat. Yeah, if he has an ace, he has me beat, but like I said, he can have pocket pairs, and he could take a line where he just doesn't believe me and he's in check call mode. It would be disastrous if I checked and if I checked behind and he had 2 queens here. It's not likely he has 2 queens, but it's possible. When he comes in for this check raise to 175, I can pretty safely fold. The other option would have been to check this card and then go into guessing mode on the river. When he bets, did he miss? Does he have an ace? And that didn't seem like a good idea. Well, that game's over. didn't go as planned as I'm upstuck for the evening. So in for $9.50, out for $11.85. I'll take it. All right, headed back home.